trying to find the way to walk. Lord, I humble myself before thee. I don't want to be lost. I've been taught to search the scriptures and read the word of truth. Like you said, just like you promised, I'll be just like you. How can you hear to believe? Take the time out just to read. You will find that you've been wrong. Jesus is coming to his home to take his rest in Zion. You won't get to heaven. No, 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 no. And I know it's true. 'Cause I'm ready. Yeah. All you got to do, just receive it. Yeah. Open up your Bible. You can read it. It's all so clear right now. God is coming down. Yeah. Jesus said it.
Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Israel of God Bible study, where we bring forth this Bible. We teach this Bible from Genesis to Revelation, and we teach it by subject and title. So today we're going to deal with the seed of God, which is man. So the title of this lesson is going to be, Man is the Seed of God. Will you become wheat or a tare? Okay? Man is the seed of God. Will you become wheat or a tare? And when I ask the question, will you become, because it's up to you what you going to become in the end of all this thing that the Lord put forth, okay? Because he planted the seed, and we're going to show you he planted this seed, but he planted a good seed. And he planted this seed for the purpose to bring forth people, bring forth those for his kingdom, okay? But this seed that he planted, he planted a good seed, but tares came up in it. And I'm going to show you this through the scripture. So the choice that you have to make is, you as that seed, are you going to become wheat or a tare? Because everything you do and how you do it is a choice. So we're going to take our time, and we're going to let this Bible speak for itself, because it's more than capable of doing so. So we're going to start this off in Matthew's, the 13th chapter. And I'm going to show you this parable that the Lord put forth, that Jesus put forth, the parable about the sowing the seed in his kingdom. And I'm going to show you through this parable that Jesus is talking about his creation from the beginning to the end. Okay, so we're going to take our time, like I said, and go through this Bible and show forth this. So we're going to start this off in Matthew, the 13th chapter, and we're going to start reading at verse 24. When you get it, brother, go ahead and start reading.
Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field.
So this is the parable. This man sowed good seed in his field. Go ahead and read.
But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way.
Okay, so he sowed good seed. He said while men slept, he said an enemy came along and he sowed tares. Okay, while men slept, he sowed tares among the wheat. Now let's see what happened. Go ahead.
But when the blade was sprung up.
Now when them blades start springing up, go ahead.
And brought forth fruit.
The fruit came forth, but look what came up with that fruit. Go ahead.
Then appeared the tares also.
The tares appeared also. So this man sowed a good seed now. The good seed was sown, but he said the enemy came along and put forth tares in there. Okay, so when the fruit started coming forth, it says that the tares then appeared the tares also. So that means the tares appeared with this fruit when this fruit started coming up. Let's see what happened. Go ahead and keep reading, Larry.
So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field?
Go ahead.
From whence then have it tares?
Now his servants want to know, Lord, you planted a good seed. Where these tares come from? Now if you don't know what a tare is, it's a weed. Okay? Anytime anybody that knows anything about gardening, you know you always got them weeds. And if you don't get rid of them weeds, it's going to affect your crop. Okay? So these guys see these tares, and where these tares come from? Look what the Lord said. Let's go ahead and read, Larry.
He said unto them, An enemy have done this.
He said an enemy did this. Go ahead.
The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up?
So he said an enemy did it. So anybody that knows anything about gardening, you know, if we don't get rid of these tares, they're going to affect the wheat. So you want us to pull them up? Look what the Lord going to say. Read.
But he said, Nay.
No, don't take them up. Why? Go ahead.
Least while ye gather up the tares, ye root also the wheat with them.
Because you might pull the wheat up with the tares. Okay? So no, leave them where they are. Leave them like they are. And this is what we going to do. Read verse 30.
Let both grow together.
You let them grow together. Go ahead.
Until the harvest.
Until that harvest. And then what you going to do? Go ahead.
And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, gather together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them. But gather the wheat into my barn.
He said, so leave them together. Let them grow together. Now, the tare going to grow amongst the wheat going to grow amongst the tare. They're going to grow together until the time of the harvest. He said, but when that time of the harvest comes, then we going to pull the tare up first. Okay? Now, mind you, like I said, this whole parable is talking about the whole plan of Jesus, the creation to the end. Okay? From the creation to the end, but he said he going to take them tares, he going to bundle them up, and they going to be thrown in the fire, and then you're going to gather the wheat into his barn. Now, let's break all this down. We're going to let Jesus break all this down so we can grab a little understanding from it. But I'm going to show you that this good seed that he planted was this man, okay? And the one who came along, the enemy, that's Satan the devil, you know? And all those tares that he put forth in there, and I'm going to show you how he did it, you know, those are the children of that enemy. And the wheat are going to be the children of the kingdom. Let's break it down. Skip down to verse 36 and take it from there, Larry. 36.
Then Jesus sent the multitude away and went into the house. And his disciples came unto him, saying, declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field.
So they want to know, what do this mean, Lord? He finna break it down. Go ahead, Larry.
He answered and said unto them, he that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man.
Go ahead.
The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom.
Go ahead.
But the tares are the children of the wicked one.
And that's his creation. He said, hey, he said, the one that sowed the seed, this good seed, hey, that's the Son of Man. That's him himself. I sowed that good seed. But when did he sow it? When he created Adam, all the way back in the beginning. He sowed a good seed. But he said, the field is the world. This man came from the dust of the earth, you know, and then he said, and the good seed are the children of the kingdom. He said, but those tares, they the children of the wicked one. Who is that wicked one? Read that verse 39, Larry.
The enemy that sowed them is the devil.
He is the enemy or the devil. That's the one when they asked him, Lord, where did these tares come from? You planted a good seed. He said, the enemy did that. But who is that enemy? He the wicked one or the devil. And I'm going to show you how he did it, because he don't have no seed, just like God don't have no seed. That's why he had to create this man, because spirit beings don't reproduce. But God wanted to fill his kingdom up with beings just like him, so he had to create them. Just like Satan don't have no seed, Satan don't have no type of creations or nothing going on. The only way Satan could get to him to make you a tare or follow after the wicked one of his children is through your thorn. That's the only way he's going to get through. And I'm going to show you that. But look what he's going to say. So the enemy is the devil. And let's finish reading that. Start back from the top of that 39.
The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world. And the reapers are the angels.
So we went from the beginning to the end. And I'm going to show you even all the way to the Father's kingdom. Keep reading, Larry.
As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world.
Go ahead.
The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend and them which do iniquity.
That's us. See, like I said, this leading all the way through from the beginning to the end, when Jesus came and set up his kingdom for that 1,000-year millennium, and all the way to the end, even that second resurrection. Read that 42.
And shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth.
That's the end. That's it. That's all. That's past the first and the second resurrection. Because that's when the tares are going to be thrown into that fire. That's the end. Now look where the wheat going to go, because he said, bring the wheat into my barn. Read that next verse.
Then shall the righteous shine forth as a sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who have ears to hear, let him hear.
Jesus said they're going to shine forth like the sun. Where? In the kingdom of the Father. That is it. That is all. This one parable went through the whole creation. He planted that good seed. He planted the good seed, and the good seed that came forth, because it said that it brought forth fruit. But among them fruit also came them tares. You know, he planted that good seed because he wanted to fill up his kingdom with that good seed. But them tares, them the children of the devil. Let's look at it. We're going to go all the way back to the beginning and break this thing down. Let's go to Genesis, the 4th chapter. Because like I said, that good seed that he planted was Adam. You know, but if Adam brought forth the fruit that was supposed to come forth, because he said when the grass sprang up, it brought forth fruit. But also tares was among them. So the wheat and the tares, or the good fruit and the tares, they had to come from Adam. Because he was that seed, good seed that was planted. But how did them tares get in there? He said the enemy did it. So we're going to introduce all this right here in this 4th chapter. Let's go. Genesis 4, and we're going to start reading at verse 1. Go ahead, Larry.
And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. Okay,
so this Adam and Eve, after the Lord put them out of the Garden of Eden. Why? Because that enemy came in and he started planting his seeds, you know. And how do he plant his seeds? In your mind. Told Eve, what did he tell Eve? You shall not surely die. God just know you're going to be just like him, knowing good and evil. He started planting them seeds. And Eve went for it. Adam didn't go for what he said, but he went for what his wife said. So now you got them put out of the Garden of Eden, and what do you have? They starting to procreate. And the first one that came along was Cain. He was the 3rd person on this planet. Go ahead and read.
And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of the sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground.
Okay, so let's see what started happening in the process of time. Keep reading.
And in the process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering to the Lord. And Abel, he also brought of his fruits firstlings of his flock and the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel to his offering.
So Cain and Abel brought forth their offerings to the Lord. Abel brought forth his best. Cain did. The Lord had respect for Abel, but he didn't for Cain. And when he had that respect for Cain, Cain changed. And it showed forth through him. Go ahead and read that verse 5, Larry.
But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell.
He was very angry, and his countenance changed. You can't tell somebody angry unless you're looking at them. They're going to show forth that anger, but where do that anger start? Right here in the mind. He had to think about that thing. Why is the Lord accepting him and not accepting me? You know, I gave too, just like he did. He got mad. But the Lord going to explain to him why he didn't accept his. Keep reading, Larry, verse 6.
And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth?
Why you mad, Cain? Go ahead.
And why is thy countenance fallen?
And why have you changed your whole attitude towards everything? What's going on? Go ahead.
If thou doest well, shall thou not be accepted?
The Lord telling him what he need to do. Just do well, Cain. Abel did well, and I accepted him. If you do the same thing, I'll accept you too. Go ahead.
And if thou dost not well, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him.
And that sin lieth at the door if you don't do well. Which means you making a choice. You're going to either choose to do well and be accepted by God, or you not, and you not going to be accepted by him. But not doing well is you getting caught up in that sin. Now, mind you, we in the beginning here, you only got, so far from what we done read, 4 people on the planet. You got Adam, you got Eve, you got Cain, you got Abel. So with this is where you gonna get your wheat and you gonna get your tares. Because Cain didn't do well, he got mad about it, and this is his retaliation. Instead of him following the Lord's instructions and doing well, this is what he did. Read that next verse, Larry.
And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him.
He killed his brother. Instead of doing well, he killed his brother. But guess what, sisters and brothers? This is the beginning of your tares right here. This is when the enemy sowed that tare right here. And where did he sow it at? In the mind of Cain. Sowed it in his mind. He pumped up them evil imaginations that Cain had, and yeah, man, you know, he think he better than you, and he think this, and Cain probably put it in his mind. These my words, not what we even read, but this just me putting it together. Cain probably put it in his mind, if he say one more thing to me about how the Lord has accepted him, I'm going to kill him. You know, these are wicked imaginations. This is the things that was going on in Cain's mind, wicked imaginations. And he killed his brother. And he knew it was wrong. That's why I said the choices we make, that's what's going to determine whether you become that wheat or you become that tare. Because he chose to do that. And he knew it was wrong. Read that verse 9, Larry. Read that verse 9. He knew it was wrong.
And the Lord said to Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper?
He said, I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper? What did he just do? He lied. So not only did he murder, now he lied. Because he knew thou shalt not kill. Okay? The commandment's been from the beginning that they knew. But this is where your tare started off. And from him, he started to procreate, be fruitful and multiply, and he started bringing forth more tares. That's why when the servants came along and said, Lord, you planted that good seed, where did these tares come from? The enemy did. Skip down to verse 16. Let's look at Cain. Because he was disinherited by the Lord. So Cain went on his own, and he started to be fruitful and multiply. 16.
And Cain went from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in a land of Nod on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch.
So Cain started being fruitful and multiply. You may ask the question, well, then where he get that wife from? Amongst his sisters. It was like we just read, there was only 4 people on the planet. You had Adam, Eve, Cain, and Abel. Abel was killed, so now you only got 3. But in the midst of that, they had to have daughters in the process of time. So he took one of his sisters. But what did he start doing? He started being fruitful and multiplying. Now, mind you, after Cain and Abel, Adam and Eve had no more male children at this point in time. So the only one that's reproducing and multiplying like that with these males is Cain. He bringing forth the tares. Skip down to verse 19 and look at what one of his seeds started to do. Verse 19.
And Lamech took unto him 2 wives.
Now, Lamech took unto him 2 wives. Now, mind you, there ain't no other men besides Cain with Adam and Eve reproducing, but they ain't bringing forth no man child. So the first one of multiplying wives was the tares. Food for thought, sisters and brothers, because everybody, these brothers want to talk, oh, man, you can have many wives as you want to. Look how many wives he had. That ain't the way the Lord started it off, though. He started off by 2 becoming 1. Okay? But the tares that the wicked one or that evil one that sold, the enemy sold, they started multiplying wives. Look what else they started doing. Skip down to verse 23, Larry. 23.
And Lamech said unto his wives, Adah and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech, hearken unto my speech. For I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt.
He went and did the same thing his father did, murder. Hey, these are your tares right here. This is the one that the enemy sold, and this is how they came forth when the fruit started coming forth. Satan, the devil, planted them tares, but he planted them in their mind. And they just got worse and worse and worse, even to the point that this Lamech, he killed him a man, and he said, he boasted about, look what he going to say, verse 24, Larry.
If Cain shall be avenged 7-fold.
He just said, if Cain going to be avenged 7-fold, go ahead.
Truly Lamech 70 and 7-fold.
I'm better than Cain. I'm going to be 70 and 7-fold. He boasted about, he feeling good about murdering him somebody. These are your tares. Keep reading, because like I said, Adam and Eve had no more male children. Cain was the only one being fruitful and multiplying like that with his sons and his sons' sons and so on and so on. The tares is growing. But look now the wheat gonna come along because he planted a good seed. Look, read that verse 25.
And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son and called his name Seth.
Go ahead.
But God said, she have appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew.
So just like I said, they had no more male children until Seth came along. Evidently, all they was bringing forth was females, you know, because no more man child until Seth came along. But once Seth came along, then this would happen. Verse 26.
And to Seth, to him also there were born a son, and was called his name Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord.
And that's when the wheat started, or the fruit started kicking in. You know, from Seth's seed. These, when the sons of God began to appear. You know, because they was following after the word of God. But it was all a choice. They had to choose. Just like Cain chose to do wickedness and Abel chose not to. Abel chose to put forth his best and Cain chose not to. Cain chose to kill Abel instead of doing better. It's all a choice. If you become a wheat or if you become a tare, you chose it. Because that's what Cain did. Look, let's go to 1 John, the 3rd chapter. Let's go to 1 John chapter 3, and let me show you. Cain is the beginning of them tares. He the one that wicked one came and sold them tares amongst them. But where did he sow it at? In his mind. Because that's the only way Satan could get to you is through your thoughts and your imaginations. He can't just pop up in front of you like he did with Adam and Eve. The Lord stopped that. But look at what this going to say. 1 John 3, and we're going to start reading at verse 8. When you get it, read, Larry.
He that committeth sin is of the devil.
Now listen to what the scripture said. He that committed sin is of the devil. What did Cain do? He killed his brother. That's a sin. Thou shalt not. So he of the devil. Go ahead and read.
But the devil sinned from the beginning. For this purpose the Son of God was manifested, that he might destroy the works of the devil.
Yes, sir. So that's the reason why Jesus had to come forth. Because he killed the creation. Satan killed the creation when he sold them tares. And them tares was wiping the wheat out. And I'm going to show you, because like he said, let them grow together, I'll separate them in the harvest. Which means the tares could affect the wheat, and the wheat can affect the tare. Because it's all a choice. So skip down to verse 10. Look what he's going to say. Verse 10.
In this the children of God are manifest.
Now in this the children of God are manifest. To read.
And the children of the devil.
So you could tell who the wheat and who the tare. You can tell. Go ahead and read.
Whosoever doeth not righteousness is not of God, neither he that loveth not his brother.
So if you doeth not righteousness, you ain't of God. Which means you becoming a tare. You know. You moving like the wicked one or Satan the devil. You are sinning and you doing it willfully. Adam, when Cain killed Abel, he didn't accidentally do it. It was a purposely thing that he done. He chose to sin against God. That's a tare. You know what right is, but you still gonna do wrong. So he said that you could tell them apart now. So it ain't no mysteries. It ain't like you got to wonder, is he a tare or is she a tare? It ain't no mysteries. You can know. So look, keep reading, Larry, verse 11.
But this is a message that ye heard from the beginning.
Now you heard this message from the beginning. Go ahead.
That we should love one another.
Right, we should love one another. Go ahead.
Not as Cain, who was of that wicked one.
Not as Cain, who was of who? That wicked one. Cain didn't love his brother. What is love? The keeping of the commandments. Thou shalt not kill. Cain killed his brother. And he said he was of that wicked one. That's them tares. Finish that verse.
And slew his brother. And wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil and his brother's righteous.
And he slew him because his works wasn't good and his brother's was, which means he was jealous. And instead of him doing what the Lord told him to do better, he chose to kill his brother. And when them tares started growing from him, because he started being fruitful and multiply, bringing forth all them tares was growing, like he said, let them grow together with the wheat. Them tares affected the wheat so bad that the Lord wanted to destroy his whole creation because of it. Let's go to Genesis, the 6th chapter. Genesis chapter 6. Look at this thing. This is why I say it's all a choice. But by Jesus saying, let them grow together, he'll separate them in the harvest. You got to choose which way you going to go. Either you going to do righteousness and become children of the kingdom or wheat, or you going to follow that wicked one and you're going to become a tare, which is going to the lake of fire to be burned. The choice is yours. Look at this. Let me show you how bad these tares affected the wheat. We're going to start reading at verse 1. Genesis 6 and verse 1. Read, Larry.
And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them.
Now we got men that was multiplying on the face of the earth, which means this is in the process of time. Time to went forth. You got the tares that's growing and multiplying, which is Cain's seed, and then you got the wheat that's growing and multiplying, which is Seth's seed. But they start intermingling. Go ahead and read, Larry, verse 2.
That the sons of God saw the daughters of men.
Now these sons of God, we know these are Seth's seed, because we read that. Them the ones that start caught up on the Lord. The sons of God start mingling with the daughters of men. So if it's only Seth and Cain that's reproducing, if Seth is the wheat, who the tares are? Cain. That's his seed. So them are the daughters of Cain. Look what happened. Go ahead.
That they were fair. And they took them wives of all which they chose.
All right, what happened? Go ahead.
And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years.
The Lord saw how them tares start affecting that wheat. And he was like, I can't let these guys carry on like this for a whole 1,000 years. They will destroy the planet. You will have nothing but wheat. I need to cut their time off. So he had to cut their years. But before he let it get to the point for them to start living just 120 years, he decided to kill them all. Skip down to verse 5 and read, Larry.
And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
Every imagination of the thoughts of his mind was only evil. Satan was working with him. That's how Satan worked with you. I told you that's how he could get to you, through your mind. Them wicked and evil imaginations, that was all that they was had on their mind, and they put it forth. And it got to the point that the Lord said, I'm killing everybody. Read, Larry.
And it repented the Lord that he made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man for whom I have created from the face of the earth.
He said, I'm going to kill them all. It repented me that I made this man. The tares have affected the wheat to the point where we got all tares coming about. I got to kill them all because I ain't finna bring forth tares. I planted a good seed. I planted a good seed. All I got is wickedness coming before me. All I got is tares. I'm going to kill them all. Finish reading that, Larry.
Both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repent of me that I have made them.
The Lord said, I hate that I even made this man. But to show you how long-suffering and merciful and gracious he is, out of all them tares, he saw one wheat coming up out of it. Read that 8th verse, Larry.
But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord.
Noah found that grace. I found the fruit. Because he said the fruit, the grass sprang forth and fruit popped up. But the tares was also among them. He found that fruit. Right there. I got some wheat growing too, so I ain't going to kill them all. I'm going to save that wheat, and I'm going to start with that piece of wheat there, and we're going to move on from there. But from that point on, like he said, I'm cutting their time short because this man is wicked. Imaginations are continuously wicked, and I'm going to show you it start from their youth. Look, let's go to Genesis, the 8th chapter. Turn right over to the 8th chapter. Genesis chapter 8. And I want you to start reading at verse 20. Let me show you what the Lord told Noah. Genesis 8 and 20. Go ahead.
And Noah builded an altar unto the Lord, and took of every clean beast and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. So
look, Noah, after the flood, 40 days and 40 nights, the Lord killed everything and everybody besides what was on the ark. When that time was over, Noah put forth sacrifices to the Lord. Now look what the Lord gonna say, verse 21.
And the Lord smelt a sweet savor, and the Lord said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground anymore for man's sake.
He smelt that sweet savor, and it moved him. Man, you know, I see this man and how righteous this man can be. He said, I won't do this again. First and foremost, he said, I will not again curse the ground anymore for man's sake. But the question is, when did he curse the ground, sisters and brothers? He did that in Adam's time. When Adam sinned, he told Adam, curse this the ground for thy sake. So that's when he cursed the ground. But then he going to say this too. Go ahead, Larry.
For the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth.
He said his mind is evil from his youth. And it is. This is all man. This ain't just no, that ain't me, Dan. I'm a good brother. Even you, good brother. Oh, man, this is man. So you got good in you and you got evil in you in that mind. It's all the point of what you going to choose to do. So he said his mind is wicked, in his heart is evil from the youth. Go ahead.
Neither will I again smite any more every living thing as I have done.
So he said, and because of that, I ain't going to smite every living thing no more like that. I'm not going to do that again. But I'm going to cut their time short. He already said that. You only got 120 years now. And right now in these last days, he cut it even shorter. We only got 70 now. And if longer than that, like he says, by strength. But it's because of this mind of this man is wicked continuously from his youth, and the Lord knew that. So the way that I'm going to cut this wickedness down, I'm going to kill him before that time. I'm going to let him die before that time. Let's go to Ecclesiastes, the 9th chapter. Ecclesiastes chapter 9. He said, I'm going to cut them off. I got to kill them. They got to die. Because if I let them go on, he already see them tares can affect them to the point, you know, where the wheat might not be strong enough. He said his spirit wasn't going to always strive with them. So I'm going to cut their time down so they don't have that long to continuously reproduce and bring forth these tares. Look, Ecclesiastes 9, and we're going to start reading at verse 2. When you get it, read it, Larry.
All things come alike to all. There is one event to the righteous and to the wicked, to the good and to the clean and to the unclean, to him that sacrificeth and to him that sacrificeth not. As in the good, so is the sinner, and he that sweareth as he that feareth an oath.
So the same thing come to all men. I don't care if you righteous or if you wicked. Now this is what the Lord, he had to do this, because that's that death. Read that verse 3. Look.
This is an evil among all things that all done under the sun, that there is one event to all.
He said this is an evil amongst all things, that this one event falls to all. Read, Larry.
Yeah, also the heart of the sons of men are full of evil.
He said it again, their mind is full of evil. He said the sons of men, that's why I said that's everybody. He said it's full of evil. Go ahead.
And madness is in their heart.
And they got madness in their mind. If you can't tell me this man ain't crazy, I don't know who is. You know, but it's all a choice. We all got that crazy in us. But the question is how you deal with your crazy. Do you follow after the imaginations, or do you let the word of God guide you? The choice is yours. Finish that, Larry.
While they live, and after that, they go to the dead.
And after that, they go to the dead. But they used to be able to live 1,000 years, you know, but he cut it short. But why? Because of the tares, the wicked imaginations of man. And Satan run rapid with your wicked imaginations, because it all starts right here. Look, let's go to Matthew, the 15th chapter. Matthew chapter 15. This thing is serious business, sisters and brothers. And if you become a tare, you can't blame nobody but yourself. Just like if you become wheat, you can't blame nobody but yourself, because the choice is yours. It's all a choice. Everything starts with you. But if you become that tare, it's because you couldn't control this right here. You couldn't keep this in check, because this is where everything starts from. That's how the Lord knew that Cain was upset. His thoughts showed forth what he was feeling, you know. It showed forth. That's why the Lord, why your countenance has changed. What is you mad for? Because of them thoughts. Look at this. Matthew 15. Start reading at verse 16, Larry. And let's see what Jesus is going to say. 16.
And Jesus said, are ye also yet without understanding?
Go ahead.
Do not ye yet understand that whatsoever entereth in at the mouth goeth into the belly, and is cast out into the drought?
Okay, so Jesus finna make a point here. Whatever goes into the mouth, it's going to go out through the belly, go in the belly. You're going to use the bathroom, and it's going out just like every man do. But look what he finna say, verse 16.
But those things which proceed out of the mouth.
He said, now, but those things that come out of your mouth, go ahead.
Come forth from the heart.
They start at the mind. Start at the mind. You know, you have to think about something you gonna say and do, especially when you mad. That's why you gotta really, really be under control when you get upset, because you've been flew off the handle, and before you know it, you found yourself in a situation that you don't want to be in. But it started right here. Keep reading, Larry.
And they defiled the man.
And that's what defiled that man. Read that next verse.
For out of the heart proceed evil thoughts.
Now, these are the things that come out of the mind. Because when he's saying the heart, he's not talking about nothing but your mind. This right here ain't nothing but a pump that pushes blood through your body, that pump the blood through your body. This ain't nothing but a muscle. But he's talking about this right here. This is where your thoughts come from. He says, so from out of the heart proceeds evil thoughts. What else?
Murders.
Murders. Ain't that what Cain did? He had to think about that thing first. Go ahead.
Adulteries. Fornications, thefts, false witness, blasphemy.
Go ahead.
These are the things which defile a man. But to eat with unwashed hands defileth not a man.
That don't defile the man, eat with unwashed hands. He said, but the things that go out of you, that's what defile you, because they start in your mind. Now, if all you doing is going through with wicked imagination, wicked thoughts in your whole day-to-day course, that's all you got going on, that's what you going to put forth. Because you are what you eat, and you put forth what you eat. And when I say eat, I'm talking about with your eyes and your ears. So just imagine if that's all you put in you is them wickedness and evil things, whether it's from your TV shows, whether it's from your movies, whether it's from your music, you feeding your mind. And the more you feed it that wickedness and that foolishness, the more you put that forth. It starts right here. Look, let's go to Mark, the 4th chapter. Let's go to Mark, the 4th chapter, because it's your choice. But you can combat those evil thoughts and those evil imaginations because the Lord gave us everything we need to do that. He the one planted that good seed. So for that good seed to grow into that wheat, he got to feed it the right things. And the Lord gave it everything you needed to become that wheat. Everything. Look, Mark the 4th chapter, and we're going to start reading at verse 3. When you get there, read, Larry.
Hearken, behold, there went out a sower to sow. And it came to pass, as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and the fowls of the air came and devoured it up.
So now he's finna talk about the sower of the seed, the seed that this sower sowed. Now, once again, this seed that this sower is sowing, this is the nourishment for the wheat to grow and to become into the seed of the fruit of the kingdom that he wanted, the children of the kingdom. This is that nourishment. So when he dropped it, these seeds, he dropped it on the world, not just one particular part. Because everybody it fell on, they had the choice to either take it and roll with it or reject it. So the first one he said happened was the first one that he sold. Read that verse 4 again, Larry. That verse 3. I'm sorry. 3. Read where you started from. Start at the top.
Hearken, behold, there went out a sower to sow. And it came to pass, as he sowed, some fell by the wayside. And the fowls of the air came and devoured it up.
Okay, so those that fell by the wayside, they rejected it in some kind of way because the fowls came along and ate it up. Look, verse 5.
And some fell on stony ground, where it had not much earth, and immediately it sprang up because it had no depth of earth. Okay, so this sprang up when it didn't have enough depth in it. Verse 6. But when the sun was up, it was scorched. And because it had no root, it withered away. Okay, so that once again, these are, and I'm going to show you at the end of this parable, these are the choices that they made. Some come along and something going to come along with all us sisters and brothers. You know, because that wicked one is trying to take away what there is to make you that wheat. You know, so you got a choice to either be strong and withstand or reject it and fall to the wayside. Read that next verse. Verse 8. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it. Go ahead, verse 8. And it yielded no fruit. And the other fell on good ground, and did yield fruit that sprang up and increased, and brought forth some 30, some 60, and some 100. So this seed that fell on all these grounds, well, I'm going to let Jesus explain to you, but they all had the same choices. You know, nobody was in a different predicament than somebody else. They all had the same choices to make, and those who chose not to continue on in it, they chose that. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Skip down to verse 13 and read it, Larry, because he's finna break it down and explain it. And he said unto them, know ye not this parable? And how then will ye know all parables? Go ahead. The sower soweth the word. Now the sower, he soweth the what? The word. That's what's going to make you grow into that wheat. And he sowed it on the world. He didn't just give it to one particular. He sowed it on the world. Read. And these are they by the wayside, where the word is sown, but when they have heard, Satan cometh immediately and take it away. Whoa, wait a minute. Who came along and took it away immediately, Larry? Satan. Ain't that the wicked one? Ain't that the enemy, the one that brought forth the tares? Yes, sir. How do he come along immediately and take it away? Through his tares. They come along and start talking in your mind, talking in your ear, tell you, oh, man, what you doing calling on that name, Jesus? Jesus ain't the name. And they break it down. They start taking away what you got. What you mean you ain't going to heaven? You know, everybody going, my mama in heaven right now. They come take it away. And since you ain't strong enough to hold on, you fall to the wayside. Go ahead, Larry, read. And take away the word that was sown in their hearts. Go ahead. And these are they likewise, which are sown on stony ground, who, when they have heard the word, immediately receive it with gladness. See, they hearing it. We all hear this word. This ain't nothing different with nobody.
They heard it with gladness. Oh, that sounds good. What you say? I ain't got to deal with Christmas no more and spend all that money for them kids because it's pagan. They heard it. But then look what happened. Go ahead, Larry.
And have no root
They didn't have no root in themselves, which means they weren't grounded. They weren't strong enough. Go ahead.
And so endure but for a time. Afterward, when affliction or persecution arises for the word's sake, immediately they are offended.
They couldn't withstand it. They weren't strong enough. Oh, they was happy that they didn't have to do the Christmas no more. But when Big Mama heard about it, what you mean you ain't coming over the house for the Christmas dinner this year? Oh, is she mad now? You don't want Big Mama mad at you, do you? So when that persecution came along, well, Mama said, Big Mama said, she got to talk to you because you done got yourself into a cult. You know, what you mean Jesus wasn't born on December the 25th? You know? Hey, man, that's why I said that when persecution arises for the word's sake, the one that said Jesus wasn't born on December the 25th. You know? But them persecutions be so much that immediately they are offended and they fall to the wayside. Once again, a choice. Read, Larry.
And these are they which are sown among thorns, such as hear the word.
Once again, they hear that word. Go ahead, Larry.
And the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches and the lust of other things entering in, choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful.
Once again, sister, brothers, well, every one of these ones that fell to the wayside, it was a choice. Because the same thing that fall upon all of these places that he dropped that seed on, we going through the same thing. We all got to go through these persecutions. We all got to go through these trials and tribulations. Nobody is getting nothing no different. But the question is, what are you going to choose to do? That's the question. Read that next verse, Larry.
And these are they which are sown on good ground.
Now, those that are sown on good ground, but mind you, all the ground was good. You know, all the ground was good. It's just that the way you chose to go and when you got that word. Go ahead.
Such as hear the word and receive it and bring forth fruit, some 30-fold, some 60, and some 100.
Just like I said, the wheat could affect the tare, just like them tares could affect the wheat. Which means the wheat can talk to the tare, then make convince the tare to choose to become that wheat. Just like the tares did with the wheat. You know, it's all a choice. That was them 60, 30, and 100-fold that they brought forth. They heard it, they liked it, they loved it, and they pursued it. Start growing in it, and they start bringing others. This is the wheat and the tare. The choice is yours. Let's go to Psalms, the 28th chapter. Psalms chapter 28. The Lord gave us everything we need. If you become that tare, it's because you wanted to be that tare. If you become that tare, it's because you chose to be that tare. Psalms 28, and we're going to start reading at verse 1. When you get it, read it, Larry. Psalms 28 and verse 1. Go ahead.
Unto thee will I cry, O Lord, my rock.
Now I'm crying to you, Lord. Why? Go ahead.
Be not silent to me.
And please don't be silent to me. Go ahead.
Least if thou be silent to me, I become like them that go down into the pit.
And we know who going down to the pit. Who going to the pit? The tares. He said bind up the tares first and throw them in the furnace. He said, I don't want to be like them, Lord. I don't want to be like them. Go ahead and read. Skip down to verse 3 and read.
Draw me not away with the wicked.
He said, don't draw me away with the wicked, Lord. Go ahead.
And with the workers of iniquity, which speak peace to their neighbors, but mischief is in their hearts.
Those are tares. You know, I don't want to be like them, Lord. Draw me away from the wicked. And he gave you the tools you need to point them out. Didn't he say in that first John that this is how you could tell the sons of God from the sons of children of Satan? You know. It's the way you move and how you behave. He said that these guys will speak peace to their neighbors. Oh, man, how you doing, my brother? But in their mind, they thinking, man, as soon as I get the chance, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to get you, homie. This is what they thinking, them evil imaginations. He said, oh, I want to be like them, Lord. Keep reading, Larry.
Give them according to their deeds.
He said, Lord, get them according to their deeds. Go ahead.
And according to the wickedness of their endeavors.
The wickedness of their endeavors, you get them according to that. But where is some wicked endeavors coming from? Jesus said they start right here in the mind. That's how you become that tare. Go ahead, Larry.
Give them after the work of their hands. Render to them their desert.
Go ahead.
Because they regard not the works of the Lord, nor the operations of his hands. He shall destroy them and not build them up.
And that's how you become a tare, because you do not consider the operations of the Lord's hand. God ain't on your mind. He can't be on your mind for you to do wickedness. God was not on Cain's mind when he killed Abel. Couldn't have been, because if it was, he would have like, well, okay, well, if I do that, I'm going to be in trouble. God wasn't on his mind. He didn't care. He chose to kill him. Look, let's go to Psalms, the 10th chapter. Back up to that 10th chapter and read. Let's start reading at verse 2. Psalms 10 and verse 2. Go ahead, Larry.
The wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor.
Go ahead.
Let them be taken into devices that they have imagined.
He said, let them be taken into devices that they have imagined. Them wicked and evil imaginations, let them be taken in that. He said, because the wicked is in their pride they persecute. Didn't Lamech boast about him killing that man? He was prideful about it. That's a tare. Okay? Look, read, Larry. Go ahead.
For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire and blesseth the covenants whom the Lord abhorred.
He said the Lord abhorred that. He hate that. You know, you being boastful about all that wickedness you doing and how you getting over on your neighbors and you beating out this person and you killing this person and you robbing. He hate that because it's sin. Read that last verse, verse 4, Larry.
The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after God.
And he ain't finna seek God. Go ahead.
God is not in all his thoughts.
And God ain't in his thoughts. That's why he's not seeking them. That's a tare. You know, when a person that's got some goodness in them and some righteousness in them, when they do something wrong to somebody, even though they may have did it out of anger, it eat them up. Man, I shouldn't have did that. Man, I shouldn't have said that. I'm so, and have it in them to even go apologize. Look, man, I shouldn't have said that. I was wrong for saying this. It bothers them. But a tare, he don't care. Man, look, I did him, and if he do it again, I'll do it again. They don't care because God ain't on their mind. They don't care. Go to Jeremiah, the 9th chapter. Go to Jeremiah chapter 9, and we're going to start reading at verse 3. When you get there, read. Jeremiah chapter 9 and verse 3.
And they bend their tongues like they're both alive.
Now listen to this. This is the tares now. Like he said, you're going to be able to recognize them. They bend their tongues like a bow with lies. Go ahead, Larry.
But they are not valid for the truth upon the earth.
Right, go ahead.
For they proceed from evil to evil, and they know not me, saith the Lord.
And they don't know the Lord. He said they proceed from evil to evil. You go from one scheme to the next one, wicked and evil. These are tares, sister and brother. These are ways to let you know whether you need to change what you're doing or not. Wicked. Did you finish that, Larry?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, read that verse 4.
Take ye heed, every one of his neighbors, and trust ye not in any brother.
Now listen, the Lord giving you a warning now to the who trying to be weak. He said, you better take heed, every man to his neighbor, and trust ye not in any brother. Go ahead.
For every brother will utterly supplant, and every neighbor will walk with slander.
And these are the ones that's tares. Like he said, the ones that'll shake your hand with peace, but in their mind, they trying to do you in. This is tares. Look, go ahead and read, Larry.
And they will deceive everyone his neighbor and will not speak the truth. They have taught their tongues to speak lies and weary themselves to commit iniquity.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Thy habitation is in thy midst of deceit. Through deceit they refuse to know me, saith the Lord.
They refuse to know him, saith the Lord, because they want to continue in that wickedness. That is a choice. They want to continue in it. They love doing wicked, you know. And don't let somebody come along that got that same mindset as they got. Oh, they really good now. These are your tares. Look, let's go to Zechariah the 8th chapter. Zechariah 8, and we're going to read one verse, verse 17. Zechariah 8 and 17. When you get it, read it, Larry.
And let none of you imagine evil in your hearts.
Now listen to what he's saying now. He said don't let anyone imagine evil in your heart. Go ahead.
Against his neighbor.
Against his neighbor. Then we read it that the Lord said he hate that. Read.
And love no false oath, for all these are things that I hate, saith the Lord.
The Lord said he hate that. Then he said he abhorred them that did that. He hated. And you're going to choose to do that? It's a choice. Look, let's go to Isaiah, the 55th chapter. Isaiah chapter 55. You can choose to be that wheat or you could choose to be that tare. But either way it go, you're going to get a reward for the choice that you make. And like he said, you're going to be welcome into the barn or you're going to be bound up and being tossed in the fire. The choice is yours. Look. So this is what we got to do. Look, Isaiah 55, and I want you to start reading at verse 6. This is what we need to do. Go ahead.
Seek ye the Lord while he may be found.
Uh-huh.
Call ye upon him while ye is near.
Yes, go ahead.
Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts.
Right.
And let him return unto the Lord, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our God, for he will abundantly pardon.
You got to forsake your wicked imagination. We know we all got them. They all there in all of us. He said, man, this is an old man. But you got to forsake them. You got to be the ones not to move off of them. You got to choose good and life instead of evil and death. You got to choose. Look, let's go to Jeremiah, the 4th chapter. Back up to the 4th chapter of Jeremiah. Because this is what you got to do to put forth to get them wicked thoughts under control and deal with your wicked imaginations. This is what you got to do. Look, Jeremiah 4 and read verse 14.
O Jerusalem, wash thy heart from wickedness.
Now you got to wash your mind from that wickedness. Go ahead.
That thou mayest be saved.
Uh-huh.
How long shall thy vain thoughts lodge within
You got to
thee?
wash your mind from that wickedness. But what is you washing it with? Let's go to Ephesians, the 5th chapter. Ephesians chapter 5. Because this is what you washing your mind with. It's what the sower sowed. And what did the sower sow? He sowed that word. This is what you got to wash your mind with. Ephesians, the 5th chapter, we're going to start reading at verse 25. Ephesians 5 and 25, when you get it, read it.
Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it.
Now, he said, love your wife like the Christ loved the church. He gave himself for it. Now, read what he going to say. Go ahead.
That he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word.
He washed it with the washing of water by what?
The word.
By that word. That's what's going to clean them wicked imaginations up. That's what's going to clean them evil thoughts up. That's what's going to make you not do what you going to do. Because you know through that word that if you do, you're going to be a tare and you're going to burn in the fire. Just that simple. Look, let's go to Jeremiah, the 17th chapter. Jeremiah 17, we're going to start reading at verse 9. When you get it, read it, brother.
The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it?
Listen to what he's saying now. He's saying the mind is deceitful above all things. This mind could be a terrible thing if you don't go the right way with it, if you don't wash it with that word. Man, it will drive you crazy. But you got to control it. Keep reading, Larry.
I, the Lord, search the heart. I tried the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doing. He
said he tried the reins of the heart. The Lord know what's in your mind. That's why he know if you serious about you didn't really mean that or not. He's serious about it. He know if you trying to change them wicked ways or not. The Lord know. Did you finish that, Larry?
You did.
Verse 9, you finished verse 10?
I did verse 10.
Okay, skip down to verse 13. Look what he's going to say.
O Lord, the hope of Israel, all that forsake thee shall be ashamed.
He said, all that forsake thee shall be ashamed. Why? Go ahead.
And they that depart from me shall be written in the earth, because they have forsaken the Lord, the fountain of living water.
You have forsaken the Lord, the fountain of living waters. That's where that water coming from. That's going to wash your mind. It came from the Lord. Look, let's go to the 2nd chapter of Jeremiah. Back up to that 2nd chapter, start reading at verse 12, Larry. Jeremiah 2 and verse 12. Go ahead.
Be astonished, O ye heavens, at this, and be horribly afraid. Be ye very desolate, saith the Lord.
Why? Go ahead.
For my people have committed 2 evils.
He said they committed 2 evils. Go ahead.
They have forsaken me, the fountain of living water, and hewed them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water.
And that's what you're doing when you forsake the Lord. It's just like you having a bucket with 2 big old buckets that got big old holes in them, and you trying to fill them with water and carry the water just running out of them. That's how it is when you forsake the Lord. That's how it was with Cain when he forsake the Lord and killed his brother. He started the tares. Look, let's go to Corinthians, the 10th chapter. Corinthians 10, and we're going to start reading at verse 3. 2 Corinthians 10 and 3. When you get it, read it, Larry.
But though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal.
And they not. The weapons of our warfare is spiritual. Read, Larry.
But mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds.
And it's mighty through God to the pulling down of them strongholds. Where are them strongholds at? Right here in your mind. That's why our warfare is spiritual, because them strongholds is on your mind. Read that next verse, Larry.
Casting down in imagination.
And you got to cast down them imaginations. Go ahead.
And every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ.
You got to bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. If you want to be that wheat, you got to bring them thoughts in subjection. Go ahead. And how do you do it? Let's go to Ephesians, the 6th chapter. Ephesians 6, and we're going to start reading at verse 10. When you get it, read it, brother.
Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord.
Yes, sir.
And in the power of his might.
If those, the ground that have, the seed that fell on was strong in the Lord, they would have made it through. Those that had fell on good ground, that's what they was. They were strong in the Lord. Go ahead.
Put on the whole armor of God.
And this is what we got to do. Go ahead.
That ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
We got to put on the whole armor of God. And the whole armor of God consists of that word. Skip down to verse 16 and read, Larry. Verse 16.
Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked.
Go ahead.
And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God.
The word of God. That's what's going to wash your mind. That's what's going to get you to the point where you're going to become a wheat that you can get eternal life. Let's go to 1 Chronicles, the 28th chapter. 1 Chronicles chapter 28. This thing is serious business, sisters and brothers. It's serious business. 1 Chronicles chapter 28. And we're going to read one verse, verse 9. Let me show you what it says. 1 Chronicles 28 and verse 9. When you get it, read it, Larry.
And thou, Solomon, my son.
Now, this is David talking to Solomon. Go ahead.
Know thou the God of thy father, and serve him with a perfect heart and with a willing mind.
You got to serve him with a perfect mind and a willing mind. Go ahead.
For the Lord searcheth all hearts and understandeth all the imaginations of the thoughts. If thou seek him, he will be found of thee.
And if you seek him, he's going to be found, but he's going to search your mind. You can't get away with nothing. He know what you're thinking. It's in your mind. You got to wash your mind of that foolishness. Let's go to this last script. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and one verse, verse 13. Because this is the conclusion of the whole matter, sisters and brothers. And this is what we need to do if we want to become that wheat and not be that tare. This is what we got to do. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13. Go ahead.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God.
Fear God.
And keep his commandments.
And keep his commandments. Go ahead.
But this is a whole duty of man.
This is our whole duty. Our whole duty, sisters and brothers, is to fear God, keep his commandments, because that's the only way, the only way that you're going to stop from becoming a tare and become a wheat. So it's up to you, sisters and brothers. The choice is yours. Whether you want to become that wheat or that tare, you have to choose. So I hope somebody got something out of this, and I'll thank you for your time.